Hilchas Meiser Sheini v'Neter Avai, Perek Achadoser. Just a little Hagdama. There's two parshas. In Parshas Re'ei, Kapitel Yudalet Pasuk Chavches, over there it speaks about Mikzei Shalosh Shonim, Toitzi is Kol Maser Tvuoscha Bashana Ahi V'Nachta B'Sharecha. At the end of the 3 years, there should be Toitzi is Kol Maser Tvuoscha. You have to have beer. You have to be mevayer all the Meiser that you have. Now the pasuk says Mikzei Shalosh Shonim. So Chazal darshan that since over here it says Mikzei, and by Hakel it also says Miketz Sheva Shonim. So just like Hakel is in a Yontiv, is Mikzei Shalosh Shonim also is in a Yontiv. So the Churid, the Pashas, you'd say that it's the Yontiv of Sukkot. At the end of the 3 years in the Yontiv of Sukkot, that's when this din of beer Meiser is. But the Meiser is in Pashas Kisove, where over there they speak about the din of Vidi Meiser, which comes behemshech to beer Meiser. So over there the pasuk says in Pashas Kisove by Sheini, Ki sechal lelaser is kol maser tvuoscha b'shon hashlishes shnas hameiser. So then is v'nosata lalevi. So the pasuk is laaser is kol maser tvuoscha b'shon hashlishes. So you already gave all the meisers of shon hashlishes. That's when the vidu meiser is. Now, when do you give all the meisers of shnas hashlishes? So you can't say that's sukkahs, because sukkahs there's still trees, fruit which is negea, which is hamshech of shon hashlishes, and you didn't give meiser yet from it. So when does it come the time when is there a yontif that you already have given all the meisers of the shon hashlishes? That comes yontif Pesach. So notice from the words Mikzei Shalosh Shonim, we learn out that it has to be Yontif, because it says Mikzei. From the word that it says Kischal Lasers Kol Maser Tvuoscha, we learn out that it has to be after you mafresh all the meisers. So which Yontif is there that you are after you mafresh all the meisers? That's talking about Yontif Pesach. So maybe we learn out that this din of beer meisers and all that as a vidi meisers is in Yontif of Pesach. Now Lepel the Lashon HaPosek is Bashana Ashlishis Shnas HaMeiser, which that really also teaches us that we're talking about Meiser Ani. There's a din Shnas HaMeiser. What does Shnas HaMeiser mean? The Shnas where you give the Meiser, you only give the Meiser Rishon, and also you give Meiser Ani. You don't give Meiser Sheini. That's a Pshat Shnas HaMeiser. Yeah. Allah Perek Yudalef. Mitzvahs Asay L'Svadis L'Fnei Hashem Achar Shemitzin Kol HaMatona Shebezer Haaretz. There's a Chiyuv Vidui. That's the Vidui Meiser. V'zeu HaNikra Vidui Meiser. So there's a mitzvah of Vidui Meiser that's V'amarta L'Fnei Hashem Alikecha Be'arta HaKedesh Nabayis. The aim is Vaden Vidui Zeh. When do you say this Vidui? Ela Achar Hashona Shemafrishim B'Meiser Oni. That's after the 3rd year. Shenamer Ki Sechal L'Aser V'amarta L'Fnei Hashem Alikecha Be'arta HaKedesh Nabayis. That means the pasuk says clearly Mitzvah Shalosh Shonim, and then we learn out that in the 3rd year it's by Serani. It's not clear whether Rambam says V'emismaden Vidizeh El Achar Hashonish Mafrishim B'Meiserani. It rather happens to be that it's after Meiserani. But Lepeil, I mean, it seems like that's like an Inyan Ikri. The Vidi is Behamshel to the Meiserani. The Chura, the Vidi is Behamshel to the 3rd year, and the 3rd year is Meiserani. But I'll call them that's Lashon Rambam. V'emismaden Vidizeh El Achar Hashonish Mafrishim B'Meiserani. Shename Ki Sechal L'Aser V'amarta L'Fnei Hashem Alikecha Be'arta HaKedesh Min HaBayis. And L'chura also, the pasuk that the Rambam bringing is L'chura, the Iker Chaser, because the Iker Raya that we're talking about, that there's Meiser on is from the words Shnas HaMeiser. It says, Kisechal L'Aser, Bashon HaShlish Shnas HaMeiser. I'll quote Ponim, that's what the Rambam says. So the Chiyuv of Vidui is after the 3rd year. Ein Mesayim B'Svadim, when is the actual Vidui? B'mincha, B'yontiv Ha'achrin Shel Pesach Shel Revi'is, V'Shel Shvi'is. During Mincha, of the last day of Yontif, say in the 4th year, which comes after the Shnas Shon HaShlishis, which is the Meiser Ani, and Al Derazeh after the Shon HaShishis, which is also Meiser Ani. Maybe that's the pshat. So in other words, just like in the pasuk it said Shon HaShlishis, but the ikra of the pasuk is Shnas HaMeiser. So in Mela we learn out that the vidu comes after the Shnas HaMeiser, which means after the year that you gave Meiser Ani. That's Mustam the Pshat. Emes HaMisvadin b'mincha b'yontav ha'achron shel Pesach shel Revi'is and v'shel Shvi'is shenam ki sechal l'laser. When you finish being maser, so we learn out, as we said before, beregel shekol ha'meises kolam bei. Since it says ki sechal l'laser, so we learn out it has to be beregel shekol ha'meises kolam bei. So the fact that it says mitzvei shalosh shonim, so we learn out that it has to be beregel, and the fact that it says ki sechal l'laser, it has to be such a regel which kol ha'meises kolam bei. Ve'ena Pesach magia mishon revius elokol peiris shlishis nesasru. Ve'en peiris eilim, ve'en peiris oretz. So when it comes Pesach, at that point in time, all the peiris of the Shana Shlishis you were already given Maisa. So I'll call upon the Nachamo. So there's a chiyuv of vidui, and this vidui is b'mincha of Yontiv Achron Shel Pesach, Sayav Shana Revius and Shayav Shana Shvius. And the reason is because at that point in time you already gave the Meiser for all the 3 years. You were able to give the Meiser also from the entire 3rd year. Halacha Yudalit. Ein misvaden ela bayem. There's a limud that we learn now that vidui has to be bayem. And v'chol hayem kosher levidui ha-Meiser. Ubein bifnei habayis, bein shalei bifnei habayis, whether there is a Beis Hamikdash or there isn't a Beis Hamikdash, either way is chayev levar. There's a chiyuv of beer and also lesvadas. So there's a chiyuv of beer of giving away all the meisers and also a chiyuv of vidui. Vidui is the name of b'choloshim. Shenema v'amarta lefnei Hashem alikecha. So we learn out b'choloshim shat eimer. And v'chol echad ve'echad eimer b'fnei atzmi. It's a chiyuv on each yochid. V'im rotzu rabin lesvadas ki echad is misvadim. They could do it b'rabin, but each one says it. U'mitzvasi b'migdash lechatchila should be b'migdash. Shenema lifnei Hashem. That's not everyone agrees, but the Rambam holds that the chiyuv vidui is lav dafke b'migdash. It's only lechatchila b'migdash, but the misvada b'chol mokim yotze. Halacha zayin ein misvada actually sure etzli achas min hamatanos. You don't say this vidui until all the matanos were already no longer in your house. Shekeda weimer b'vidui bi'arti hakedesh min habayis. I was mevayer the kedesh min habayis. And the Erev Yontiv Achron Hoya beer. The beer was on Erev Yontiv Achron. You can't have the beer on Yontiv because certain part of the beer could be burning. Or you have Biafrash's Tumas Isis. So you can't have that done on Yontiv. So you do that on Erev Yontiv. And on Ulamachar Misvada. And on the next day, on Yontiv itself is Misvada. So that's the Seder Advarim when it comes the 4th year. So on Erev Yontiv Achron, that's you finish the beer. The Ram will say the Seder Advarim of the beer. And then on Yontiv itself, but mincha, that's when is misvad. Halacha ches, kates of the waser. Im nishar etzli trumo trumas meiser is neisna lekein. So beer means he has to give away all the matanas. So if he has still trum and trumas meiser left, he has to give it away to a kain. Meiser rishon, if he has meiser rishon, is neisna lelevi. Meiser oni, neisna laniyam. Nisharu etzli peiris meiser sheini shel vadai. Einet revai emois b'diyosam. Is harez mevaran. So if he finds himself in Yerushalayim and it's not possible to use it, or he finds himself outside Yerushalayim, so it's certainly not possible to use it, so he has to be mevaret. Harez mevaran or mashal chaliyam yiseirif. Because he's no longer allowed to hold on to any of the ma'aser sheni, or not the revai, not the money and not the food. Nishra etzle ma'aser sheni shel d'mai. If he has ma'aser sheni shel d'mai, ein chayav levaret. There's no chiyuv beer of Ma'aser Sheini Shel D'mai. The whole din of D'mai is only a D'Rabbanan, so that din D'Rabbanan of Ma'aser Sheini Shel D'mai is not kol chiyuv beer. Nishra etzli bikurim, if he has bikurim, is harei hein mizbarim b'chol makim. So the bikurim are also mizbarim. You're mevayer the bikurim, you get rid of the bikurim. So even though there's a chiyuv to bring the bikurim to Beis Hamikdash, but by Nishra etzli bikurim, you didn't bring the bikurim to Beis Hamikdash. That's the pashtus hapshat of Nishra etzli bikurim. Is harei hein mizbarim b'chol makom. Some there's also a possibility of nisha etzli bikurim b'negei akain, but that's the poshtip shot. Nisha etzli bikurim. The Yisro has bikurim which you were supposed to bring to the Beis Hamikdash. So the din is harei hein mizbarim b'chol makom. Halacha tes. B'med dvarim amurim sheseder from a vayik shenisha etzli peiris. If he has fruits, those raw fruits, she'eni yochel echel kulam kedem shikonas yontiv. He's not going to be able to eat all of it. And he's only leaving, let's say, Kadesh Tei Sudas for Yontiv. So Mela, whatever he knows, he's not going to be able to eat until the Zman Havidui, so he has to get rid of. Avalim Nishar Tafshel Shemaisa Sheini V'Nateravai, not we're talking about Peiris, but something that was already cooked, is Eini Tzorech Levar. That a cooked food, even though that cooked food is cooked food of Maisa Sheini or Nateravai, Eini Tzorech Levar, that doesn't need beer. Shahat Tafshel Kimavur, because since it was already cooked, so therefore it has a din of kimavur, because b'chlal a tafshel would get spoiled. So melis, even though right now it's still intact, but nevertheless since it will eventually get spoiled, so it's considered kimavur. V'chein yayin v'tavlin, wine and spices, is also harein kimavurim. They have a din of mavurim, so meili you don't have to spill out any wine and you don't have to get rid of any spices. So if you have yayin or tavlin of Meiser Sheini, of Netter Ravai, so you could stay it and there's no chiyuv beer on it. Halacha Yud. Peiris shlehigiu le'enes ha'maises b'shas beer. Over here, enes ha'maises doesn't mean they didn't grow big enough for enes ha'maises. It means they didn't reach the time that it became tevel, that it became hukval ha'maises. That's what it means. There's no chiyuv really hafrashis maises yet. It's before gemar malacha or before it was hukval ha'maises. Peiris shlehigiu le'enes ha'maises b'shas beer is a ma'ak v'neisi l'svadas v'eini chayiv levaros. Even though lepel he could be mafresh from it trumas ha'maises, but lepel, since there's no chiyuv the vaila of being mafresh trumas ha'maises because it wasn't yet hukfud, it didn't yet reach the eines ha'maises, so therefore there's no chiyuv beer, and memela it's not ma'akev le'svadas. Halacha Yudalef. Mi shehoyu pereisa v'rechekim imenu v'higia yem habir. So what should he do? He wants to be mafresh, he wants to give away the trumas ha'maises. He wants to be mafresh the trumas ha'maises and give it away. The first thing is areza keir Hashem lematanas, so that he could do even berichuk mokim, wherever it is he's keir Hashem. And now umezaka lehem lebaleim. Now he wants to be mezaka these matanas either to the kohen or to the levi or to the oni. Now how could he be mezaka with matanas which are b'mokim acher? So in other words, he wants to be makna metaltalim which aren't in front of him. So there's two ways of doing it. Either he could do it with kinyan agav, which means that he sells someone a field, and that agav that field he's giving him also these matanas, he's giving him those matanas, or he could do it with kinyan chlipin. That's l'chura another way to be maknet metaltalim which are b'mokim acher. Now over here the Rambam is going to say he can't do it with kinyan chlipin, because when he does it with kinyan chlipin is nira kimechira, and you're not allowed to buy, you're not allowed to sell the matnas kahuna or the meiser ani. So in Mela, if he's going to be giving it to the kohen or to the levi with kinyan chlipin, so it's nira kimechira. However, if he gives it to him with kinyan agav, so the pshat is he's being makna him karka, and that karka that person could pay for. He could buy the karka with kinyan chlipin. Now agav the karka, he's also getting the metaltalim, but it's not that pshat the chlipin is going for the metaltalim, or the kesef is going for the metaltalim. It's because since he's being makna the metaltalim, there's the das makna on the metaltalim agav that he's being makna the karka. So that's the karka is giving a chizuk to the haknos ha-metaltalim, but it's not the pshat the metaltalim is being nikna with the kinyan that the karka is being nikna. So memela it's not nira ki mechira. That's what the Rambam is going to say. Nachamol. Nisha hoyu pereisa v'rechekim imenu v'higia yem abir. So the din is hareza keir Hashem l'matanis u'mezakelan lebaleim al gav karka. He's mezaket the matanis to the baleim al gav karka. Hey, l'misha zeichelem lebaleim. He could be mezaket to, for example, to the gabay tzedakah, that he should be zeicha on behalf of the aniyim, or to someone to be zeicha on behalf of the leviim. U'mesvada l'mochran. Memela is once he was mafresh the tumas ha'maises and he was mezaket. So in Mele, he could make the vidu tomorrow. Now, why is he able to give it with kinyan agav? Because shenesinas hametaltlim al gabi karka eina ela matana sheyesh b'chizuk. Means to say the kinyan that he has for the karka is not going on the metaltlim. The kinyan that is on the karka is only on the karka. It's only by having a kinyan on the karka that's giving a chizuk to the hakno of the metaltlim. Avol eina yochel lahaknis lemamaisa b'chalipin. He wouldn't be able to be makna l'chura. That would be another form of being makna metaltlum, which are b'mokim acher. He can't do that. Why? Nipnei, if he's being makna the ma'isa b'chalipin, that's nira k'mechira. That looks like he's selling him the ma'isa. So in other words, he's getting the sudar, and through that he's being makna the metaltlum. Ha'maises v'atrumas v'amatonis is namer b'emesina le'mechira. You have to give it and not sell it. So therefore, chalipin is not an option. Masha'enkin, if he's being makned with kinyan agav, so even though lepel there is money that's being given for the karka, or the money that's being, or chalipin that's being given for the karka, but on the other hand, that hakno is considered a kinyan matana sheyesh b'chizuk. In other words, he's giving away the metaltalin to whoever it is, either to the levi or to the kohen or someone that's being kohened on his behalf. And the fact that he's being makna him the karka, even if the karka is like the kesef, a chalipin is only mechazik this matana that he's giving of the metaltal. Halacha Yud Beis. Uminayin she'ena yochel isvadis Achi Yetzi Kol HaMatanos. He said before that he's Meitzi all the Peiros, and only then is he able to be Misvada. Shenemar Bi'arti HaKedesh Min HaBayis. Part of the vidui is that Bi'arti HaKedesh Min HaBayis. And HaKedesh, what does HaKedesh mean? It's the Meiser Sheini V'net Revai HaKori Kedesh. And Min HaBayis Zuchala Shehi HaMatanos Shulken in Babayis. And those the Chiv Matnas Kahuna that happens in the Bayis. The other ones are Besoda. But in Enkin, the Chiv Matnas Kahuna that happens in the Bayis, that's the Chala. And the Sativ L'Levi is Zeh Meiser Rishon. And V'gam Nesativ. It says Gam Nesativ L'Levi. Miklal Shekod Mosi Matna Acheres. Vehi Truma Gdela Trumas Maisa. Lager La Yosim V'Lalmona Zeh Meiseroni. And also Leket Shikhu Peya. Afal Pi Shein Leket Shikhu Peya Ma'akfen Savidui. There's Meikra the Dina B'Amis Leket Shikhu Peya. There's no Din Nesino LaLevi. Over there's more of a Din of Aziva. You have to be La'oni Lager Tazevesam. So Mele B'Amis, that's not really B'etzim part of the Din of V'gam Nesativ Lager La Yosim V'Lalmona. But the Chacham instituted that should also be part of the Vidui. That should also be part of the Vidui. But Lepeil, if Lemoshel, the Leket Shikhu Peya was Nisraf, that wouldn't be Ma'akavas Avidui. Mashenk and other things which we'll learn is Ma'akavas Avidui. So Me'ikra the Dina Be'emes wouldn't be a Chiv to be Nichlal Leket Shikhu Peya in the Vidui. But that's a Din D'Rabbanan. So we say Lager Le'yosim V'Lalmon is a Ma'isa'oni V'Leket Shikhu Peya Afal Pi Shein Leket Shikhu Peya Ma'akavas Avidui, because Be'etzem Leket Shikhu Peya is not really in a Din of Nesina, it's a Din of Tazev. The Derech HaMunah wants to say that the difference will be L'moshel if it gets burnt. You have to know, it's not so clear in the Rambam. Halacha Yud Gimel. V'tzorech lahafrish hamatonos ala seida v'achar kach yizvada. So the first thing is you have to be mevayer all the matonos. If you weren't mevayer all the matonos min habayis, achiyet, that's what he said in Halacha Yud Beis, achiyet sikol hamatonos. And now the din is also v'tzorech lahafrish hamatonos ala seida v'achar kach yizvada. Shenemar kichol mitzvoscha asher tzivisoni. You have to do it kichol mitzvoscha hoyim nig de ma'aseh sheini l'rishon is eine yochel isvadas. Now nisraf tivla, he had tevel, which was mechuyev betrumas u'maises, and lepel they were nisraf. So memela eine yochel isvadas. He's not able to be misvada because sof kol sof lepel he wasn't mevayer. He didn't give away all the trumas u'maises that he was supposed to. And he didn't give away the trumas u'maises that he was supposed to because the pale it was nisraf. Shaharei lehifresh matanos v'inosen baleim. And on that we're saying before that when they get leket shikol peyav they were nisraf. So they are not ma'akif. Zman shoyenesin ma'aserishon lekenim. When it was Zman Ezra, they were masakin that you should give the ma'aserishon lekenim because it was a knas to the Leviim. That was during the Zman of Sheini. Is lehoyim misvadim shenamer v'gam l'satav l'levi. So during the vida you would say l'satav l'levi, and lepel they didn't give the ma'aser to the Levi. They gave it to the kenim. So even though they gave it, that was the takana. It was the knas of Ezra. But nevertheless, that prevented them from being able to say V'gam nesatav l'levi. Halacha Yudalad. Mi she'en li elam ma'aser sheini bilvad is also misvada. She'ikar avidu b'ma'aser. The ikar vidu goes on ma'aser. Bi'arti ha'kodesh min habayis, and the kodesh goes on the ma'aser sheini. V'cheinem le'hoyel ele bikurim bilvad. If he only had bikurim, is also misvada. Shnema bi'arti ha'kodesh, which is ha'kodesh. It says we learn bi'arti ha'kodesh. So hakedesh harishon shuhu abikurim. If he only brought bikurim, so that's also his mevada. Now, how could it be echatinsa? He has only ma'aser rishon, or he has only ma'aser sheini. He only has bikurim. So on that, the Rambam Ma'orach suggests. He says that the truma got burnt, or the ma'aser rishon got burnt before he gave it to the Cain and the Levi. Male, it's not pshat he was ma'akev et la'atzmi. If it was ma'akev et la'atzmi, so he can be misvada. Masha'inkin over here, he wasn't ma'akev et la'atzmi, but on the other end, he didn't give it away. That's he says it's his own svara. It's his own svara. And when he's misvada, then he brings from Minchas Chinuch that when he's misvada only on Ma'aser Sheini, he doesn't say the whole nusach of a gam nesatav l'levi, because Lepel he wasn't nesatav l'levi. He just the nusach of his vidu is only with the biarti hakedesh min habayis. He only mentions that he was biarti hakedesh min habayis. He was that he brought the Ma'aser Sheini or he brought the bikurim. Avoni she'en li al truma b'fnei atzma. If a person only has truma, and he gave away the truma to the Kenan, but Lepel there was no Ma'aser Sheini, or there was no anything else, so it's eine misvada, she'ena truma t'una vidui, ele b'chal shar matonis. Once he has Ma'aser, so the Ma'aser Sheini And so then he also was misvad on the truma. Masha'enkin, if he doesn't have any, he only has truma, so for truma itself, you're not misvad. On Ma'aser Sheini itself, you're misvad, and al derech zeh, on bikurim for itself, you're misvad. And as we mentioned, that the video on the bikurim is only talk about bi'arti ha'kedesh min habayis. You don't say the whole nusach. Then you continue li'avarti mitzvisecha. That's part of the vidu ma'isa. That's the whole parsha over there. That in Parshas Kisavi, li'avarti mitzvisecha. What does it mean li'avarti mitzvisecha? Sheli hifrish mimin al she'eni minei, or v'lei min atolush al ha'mechuber, or v'lei min ha'mechuber al atolush, v'lei min ha'chodesh al ha'yoshim, v'lei min ha'yoshim al ha'chodesh. So that's part of li'avarti mitzvisecha. Shaila is the emes. We said before, bi'arti ha'kedesh min habayis, that there was a chi of trumas hamaisis, and he was bi'arti ha'kedesh min habayis. He gave away. He was mafresh of trumas hamaisis, and he gave the trumas hamaisis. L'chure, if he was mafresh, mimin al sheini minei u'min atolish al mechuber, it wasn't chal. Nothing was chal. So memela, so lepel mamish, he wasn't bi'arti min ha'kedesh min habayis. So what's the kamash malon li'avarti mitzvusech? It sounds like ki'ilu, even though I'm saying bi'arti ha'kedesh min habayis, but I'm also adding. Bishlem l'moshel, if a person says asisi chol mitzvos chasher tzivisoni, person could say bi'arti ha'kedesh min habayis, I gave away all my trumas and maises, but lepela was mafresh maiser before truma, and then I wasn't mekayim kechol mitzvos chasher tzivisoni. But if over here I'm adding le'avarti mitzvisecha l'chure, what am I adding? That I was mafresh not mimin al sheini mini, not min hachodesh al hayoshin. I mean, if I was mafresh min hachodesh al hayoshin, I wasn't chal. There's no chales meiser and trumas, and the mela comes out that there was tevel, that I was never mafresh. So that goes into the gather that I wasn't bi'arti ha'kedesh min habayis. I don't understand what's my kamashmal on the, if that's what le'avarti mitzvisecha is saying. I'll call upon, that's what the Rambam says, le'avarti mitzvisecha, sheli hifrish mimin al sheini minei, v'lei min atolish al ha'mechuber, v'lei min ha'mechuber al atolish, v'lei min ha'chodesh al ha'yoshin, v'lei min ha'yoshin al ha'chodesh. V'lei shachachti, sheli shachach melevarchei, melahaske shmei olav. So the pashas advarim, they learn that it means that he said the bracha on hafrashas trumas hamaises, there was a chiyuv brachas. Even though the chiyuv brachas is only a drabanan, but nevertheless the rabbanon, since the rabbanon instituted that there was a chiyuv brachas, so me'ela if a person didn't say the bracha when he was mafresh trumas hamaises, he can't take a misvada, because part of the vidu is v'lei shachokti. It's a din drabanan. The drabanan are instituting the v'lei shachokti. I didn't forget melevarche melahaske shmei olav. The Derech Emunah brings that there's some people who want to learn that it means that if you ate Ma'aser Sheini and you were mechuyev in Birchas Hamazon, is leisha chokti to bench Birchas Hamazon, which is taka deraisa dikadin. So in other words, the musik that you have to say a bracha shleisha chokti goes also on a deraisa dika level. Could be that also the Rabbanan instituted that if you didn't do the Rabbanan dika levels, so also you can't say vidu. But I'll call upon the taich of leisha chokti shlishachach milavorchei malahaski shmei olav. Liachalti be'eni mimeni. I didn't eat it while I was in Einin. Hoim ochli ba'aninei. Is Eini mizvada. V'li bi'arti mimenu b'tomi. Hoim efrishi b'toma. B'tomi, he was mafresh the maisa while he was tomi. So maybe he was metami the maisa. Or certainly if he ate it while he was tomi, is Eini mizvada. He can't be mizvada. And v'li nasati mimenu lemes. I didn't use the Ma'aser Sheini lemes. What does that mean? Sheli lokach mimenu orim v'tachrichem. It's one taish v'li nasati mimenu lemes. He didn't use it for something which is not food. In other words, he ate it. He didn't use it for anything other than food. He didn't go ahead and buy orim v'tachrichem with this money. And also, he didn't give it to someone that was an oinen, which is lemes, which means someone that's misoinen al hames, and the is you're not allowed to eat it ba'oinen. So also, you're not allowed to give it to someone that's eating it ba'nina. So in other words, if a person gave it to someone that's eating it baninos, he's also not able to make this vidi ma'aser, because part of the vidi ma'aser is that I didn't eat baninos, and also I didn't give it to someone else to eat baninos. Shamaiti b'shem Hashem alikoi, which means shehivila beis habchira, which goes on bikurim that he brought beis habchira, and al derez Ma'aser Sheini net revai that he brought to Yerushalayim, asisi kechel asher tzivisoni, which means shesomach v'simach bei shenama v'samachta b'chol hatev. So that's the Sisi, Kechil Hashem Yitzvisoni, that he was Sameach and he was Simach with the Ma'aser Sheini and the Neteravai. Hashkifa Mimen Kotshecha Min Hashemayim, Ad kasher nishbaitel aviseinu eretz zavas cholav advosh, which is also part of the Vidi Maisa that he finishes off. And what does it mean, Ashkifa? What are we asking for? Zubakosha sheitun tam bepedus, like Chazal say that b'schus Maisa Sheini, the Eibishter gives a tam bepedus, so that's Ashkifa, men kotchcho, Baruch Hazam Chayis Yisrael, kasher nishbaitel aviseinu, if fear zuis, eretz zavas cholav advosh, that the eretz should remain on eretz, which is zavas cholav advosh, and there should be a tam bepedus. Now Yisrael umamzerim mizvadim. This din vidi goes on Saya Yisrael and Saya mamzerim. Avolei geirim vavodim shuchrorim mipnei she'en lam chelik ba'aretz. Barehu Eimer, we're thanking the Eibishter v'esu adom shnosat alonu. And geirim vavodim shuchrorim, they don't have a chelik ba'aretz, so they can't say esu adom shnosat alonu. Now koyim ulavim misvadim shavu pishelinot lo chelik ba'aretz. They didn't take the normal chelik ba'aretz when they divided the Eretz Yisrael to the Yud Beis Chalokim, but nevertheless, Yeshlem Ori Migros, they were given the Ori Migros to Alavim and to the Kenim. So Mela, so they do have Oretz, it's Oretz Hashanos Lonu, Shanasat Lonu. So Mela, they could be Misvada on the payers that they bring from their Karka. They could be Misvada because they do have Oretz, they have Karka, and Mela, the Mafresh Trumas and Maises, and Mela, they could say the Vidi. Slikalu Hilchas Maisa Sheini, Venet Revai.